Hey, well, it's being able to come back with another video. Guys, I wanted to talk about something I've been kind of checking out on the tube. It's kind of been some type of movement going on. It was hashtag ADOS, and the acronym actually stood for American Descendants of Slaves. And the movement, apparently, its objective is to bring reparations to the descendants of slaves to the attention of the government, I guess. I mean, the federal government, I think, is who would be responsible for actually issuing reparations. And as King of the Hill, I watched the King of the Hill. But I digress. The federal government would be responsible for reparations under the guise of the United States. But see, historically speaking, we got to understand that if they're asking the federal government right now to do it, then based on the time of slavery, so-called slavery, the federal government's power was only within a 10-mile square. And those who don't know, a guy by the name of Benjamin Banneker actually, one that surveyed and outlined the 10-mile square Washington, D.C. Well, that's all the power that the federal government had at the time. And if you look at the Constitution now, we have to understand that this is not a country per se anymore. It's a corporation. And a lot of people say this, you hear them say it on the tube about, the United States is a corporation, but they never really elaborate on it. Well, kind of in a nutshell, remember in 1913, the federal government the Federal Reserve was established and actually kind of took over our monetary system. And then from 1914 to 1918, there was World War I. Well, the United States accrued a lot of debt for that war. And of course, with the central banks coming in, of course, they was actually the piranhas of the United States. That's why it became a corporation, because the bank was actually kind of took over the United States. And so that's why it became United States of America, all caps, and that's why all your name is in all caps, because you are an asset of the corporation. But why is it a corporation? Well, remember in 1933, the United States became a corporation because they became bankrupt. And so the corporation actually became the United States. And every state in the so-called United States is a part of that corporation as separate entities. Just like McDonald's and Burger King and, Wendy's, they're all fast food restaurants, but they're different. And that's what the 50 states are in this present-day corporation. And so when you hear about, American descendants of slaves, that, it just kind of still putting us in a box. Okay? I mean, this narrative should be bigger than that. It should be bigger than reparations, I feel. Okay? Because, as a nation, we can repair ourselves. For this reparations, we can actually repair ourselves nationally speaking. But, of course, when you go into our neighborhoods, there's still all the commercial businesses are owned by foreigners and not us. Guys, think about that. That's why, because this is a corporation. And most of the companies that you were quote-unquote American companies are not American companies anymore. Like I say, GE is owned by China. It's not an accident everything you buy is made in China, because the United States is a corporation. So, I mean, it's a cooler effort, ADOS. I can dig it. You dig? But I think it can be bigger than that. All right? So, like I said, that was just a little history behind why, when people say America is a corporation, when you go in debt, you owe people. Okay? And like I say, just do your own research. I mean, there's no accident your name is in all caps. right? Because we're all assets of this corporation. And that's why they established the Social Security Administration in 1933. And that's why everybody started getting Social Security numbers, because that Social Security number became a security instrument which could be traded on the market, the global market that is, and continue to work. And at the age of 65, 70 years old, that's when your bond could actually mature, and then you can actually start getting a little money back from all those years of working. But by 2037, that's supposed to be obsolete anyway, so it is what it is. But family, I want to come back with a little information. May the Most High side of you bring you joy. In the meantime, between time, like, share, and subscribe. And being Willie is Audi 5000.